Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another video in our JavaScript series. In today's episode, we will talk about the concept of JavaScript variables. Variables are containers for storing data, just like in our homes where we rely on boxes to store everyday items like sugar, salt, and oil. Variables serve as the digital containers for holding data in JavaScript. In this analogy, think of these boxes as the variables themselves, with the salt and sugar inside them representing the values they can hold. To create a variable, there are two steps. First, we have the declaration step, where you have the option to choose from three different keywords: var, let, or constant. Then, we move on to the second step, which is utilizing the assignment operator, denoted by the equal sign, equal symbol. Let's start with var variable type. To make a variable, use the keyword var followed by a variable name. You have the freedom to choose any name you like. For instance, let's call our first variable my variable1. Keep in mind, only use var if you need to support older browsers. So, we've completed the first step, which is declaration. Now, store a value in this variable. To do this, use the equal sign followed by any value like 8. To view it in the browser console, type console.log, in brackets type the variable name, which is my variable1. Here you can see it displaying 8. Let's create another variable, which we'll name my variable2, and assign the value 4 to it. You might have noticed that I combined both declaration and assignment in a single line. Next, calculate the sum of these two values by creating a new variable, myrsalt, as a var type, and setting it to my variable1 plus my variable2, which means the sum of both variables is stored in myrsalt. To see the result, in console.log type here my result variable. Obviously, it will display 12. To display this result on a web page, in an HTML document, take a p tag and give it an ID equal to demo. In JavaScript, select it using a document.getElementById, demo, and set its inner HTML to the value of myrsalt is plus myrsalt. This will show the number 12 on the web page. To provide some spacing between the text and the number 12, simply add a space at the end of the text. JavaScript is a case-sensitive language. Consider this scenario: if I create another variable named my variable2 with a capital V. Let's assign 17 to this variable. Write this in the console.log. It will show 17 as a result. These two variables, even though they share a similar name, are distinct and represent entirely separate variables. Here are some essential rules to keep in mind when defining variable names. Never begin a variable name with a number. For example, if you started with any number, this would be an invalid way to declare a variable. You can use a $sign or an underscore at the beginning, and these are valid ways to name variables. Be aware that you cannot use reserved words as variable names. JavaScript has a significant number of reserved keywords like function, if, switch, for, while, and more, which are off-limits for variable naming. Now let's talk about other types of variables. The var keyword was the standard in all JavaScript code before 2015. However, starting in 2015 and more recent JavaScript versions, two new types of variables emerged: let and const. Let's create two additional variables. We'll use the let keyword, and the first variable will be named x, with any value assigned to it. Using a comma, we can introduce another variable named y and assign a value. Commas are used to define multiple variables. Use spacing for readability. In this way, we've created two let-type variables. If you wish to modify a variable's value during program execution, you can employ the let keyword for variable declaration. Now, let's subtract both of these variables. To achieve this, create a z variable of let type and on the right side, perform the subtraction operation. To see the result, in the last line, change the text to z value and replace my result with z variable. We got 15 as a result. Let's duplicate this code and paste it below, but this time, replace the let keyword with constant. Also, change the variable names, and add one with all variables. It will make it different. And type z1 here. You'll obtain the same result. Always choose const when the variable's value should remain unchanged throughout the program's execution. Now, let's remove all the existing code. While we've already established variables and stored numerical values in them, there's more you can do. You can also store text in these variables. In this instance, I'll utilize the let keyword and introduce a $sign to create our initial variable, person1. To store text, simply place double or single quotes after the equal sign. You can write something like "My name is JavaScript," even though it may not make much sense. Feel free to use any text you prefer. Next, let's create another variable with an underscore at the beginning, naming it person2. Use single quotes and write something like "I love programming." To view the result, simply clear everything to the right of the equal sign. Copy the name of the first variable and paste it here. Likewise, copy the name of the second variable and paste it here. Insert a plus sign between them. To create a line break, place a BR tag within double quotes between both variables. Please note that we encountered an error due to the console log. For now, let's comment it out. The outcome will reflect the content stored in the variables. My name is JavaScript and I love programming. Now, let's create a let type variable called x. What will it do? If I store multiple values like 4, 6, and 10 but use the plus sign among them, I will use console log to check the result. In brackets, use the x variable. When we assign multiple values and use the plus sign among them, all the numbers will be added. If we enclose the first number in double quotes, what happens? In this case, all the numbers will remain as they are. However, if the first number is text, then all the numbers will be treated as text as well. Now, let's apply the same principle to the last number. This time, the first two numbers will behave as numbers and be added together, while the last number will be treated as text and won't be added to the first two values. If you found this video useful, show your support by liking it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon for notifications on upcoming videos.